Hello and happy 3 Wednesdays ago on a Monday, everyone. I know what you might be thinking. Why is it 3 Wednesdays ago now? Why is this the happy salutation you greet us with when last Saturday it was 2 Wednesdays ago on a Saturday? Well, we thought we had done Tinto Talks number 37. We had not, and that is what we will be doing today. And we will be covering culture, aka bacteria, because that's the only culture that some people have in this Tinto Talks right now. We did number 38. We are still trying to catch up. It is the 13th of November. We did number 38. Now we're out of order. We're doing 37. It's a lot of catching up to do. I know what you're thinking. Journalist, why are you talking so much about ketchup? You need a bit of exercise, and to that we respond, extra fries. What do you think the ketchup is for? Etc. And so let's jump into it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Tinto Talks. This is a happy Wednesday. Chef's kiss, nail the landing, except it's a Monday, but it was Wednesday 3 weeks ago that was happy on this Monday that is now also happy because the 3 weeks ago Wednesday, happy Monday, everyone. The day of the week where we tell you information about our super secret game with the codename Project Teaser, aka Project Caesar, but they just misspelled it. This week we will be talking about art and culture, not why it's important to the world, although it is, but the impact it has on our game. To begin with, every culture in Project Teaser has two important attributes: cultural influence and cultural tradition. I am super stoked about this because this is an avenue of, ingress that you will be able to partake in that is not economic or military, which is often kind of the two things that you can do in grand strategy games, and very often, okay, it's related to economy because you're going to be able to support more culture with more economy, but very often these games just have like a singular feedback loop of you want to expand the military so that you can expand the economy, and you want to expand the economy so you can expand the military, and having oblique kinds of mechanics that allow you to care about other things allows for more replayability and kind of more interesting stuff going on. So with that, we have cultural influence, aka the culture war mechanic. This is the attack power of a culture in the context of a culture war. Shout out to America. Representing how impressive it appears to the other cultures and the reach it extends beyond its own border. We do like some impressive culture. It has a monthly increase, or depending on prestige, or some cultural buildings, and also increases upon the completion of works of art. Very nice. So we will be able to perhaps subsidize art for the purposes of increasing our culture. We could see the cultural influence of the English is 0, the truth hurts, and it is changing by 2.1 per month. We're getting a little bit from England, the Pale, Wales, and it decays by -5% each month. The decay is a little bit interesting, but this means that you are going to, in theory, reach an equilibrium that's 20x, right? Your gain. Something like this, and then this will exert pressure on other countries. Definitely like that it has a decay mechanic and that it appears to be operating at an equilibrium. That way you can't just have some sort of cultural lead early in the game that just maintains for the rest of the game. I'm not sure if I like a 20-month kind of period determining this. I think this would probably be a bigger time frame or time window, but okay. Cultural tradition. This is the defense power of a culture in the context of a culture war, representing how strongly the culture's traditions resonate with the people. Tradition has a monthly change dependent on relevant buildings, but also an amount of art you have in your country. The average literacy of your nobles also has a significant impact on your cultural tradition as well. So we do get to see some modifiers. Our works of art are giving some, locations giving some, traditionalist societal value is going to give some more defense. Outward societal value is going to give less defense. I don't see, just kind of off the look here, of the literacy of the nobles affecting things, but I'll trust that that is correct. Some nested tooltips, which is our personal favorite, a thing of culture in its own right. As you can see in the screenshot above, the primary culture of the country is the one benefiting from your art and nobles. Okay. Culture war. I'm not sure if I like it called war. Maybe cultural exchange, although to be fair, on the flip side of things, some people call nuclear war nuclear exchange, which is just like the strangest euphemism for something that is horrific and apocalyptic. So maybe calling this cultural war and calling nuclear war nuclear exchange is a little bit of a nice thing. So what is the cultural influence and cultural tradition impacting that? Well, we have this concept called the culture war, which impacts several aspects of the game. For the part where the culture is relevant, the cultural influence of the attacking cultures is compared against the cultural tradition of the defending culture. If it's positive, you will get bonuses, but if it's negative, you will face penalties. And so we see, another axis upon which you can try and do battle, as it were, that is not merely on the military. There are plenty of diplomatic actions where having a dominant culture is a benefit to your country to accept your deals, not to mention the fact that a spy building network is faster if you have a cultural dominance. And so we have kind of the payoffs in various actions, diplomatic actions. We'll see if there's a little bit more in terms of payoffs. There's also an impact if you have conquered some land and you want to integrate it, as if your cultural influence is bigger than their traditions, you will integrate territory faster. This is also valid if you want to annex a subject. You will also assimilate people if you have a higher cultural influence than the pop's cultural traditions. There's a small impact on sieges as well. So we are getting a bunch of oblique benefits from having a lot of culture. Everyone knows that if you paint well, sieges go faster. This is well known. It is historically well documented. Everyone is aware of this. Cultural investment. One of the most important advances in the Age of Renaissance is the Patron of the Arts. This is one of the early parts of the tree that requires the Renaissance institution and allows you to invest into culture. The cost of this depends on the size of the economy and how many artists you want to employ. Can invest in culture, possible amount of artists +1. I'm really excited, not just for this in terms of a mechanic in the core game, but this can be like a scaffolding that allows you to do really interesting things with mods as well. If there is a sort of mechanic with slots and you have cultural, I just see that this is something that could probably really pop off with modding as well, even if it's not super well fleshed out in the vanilla game. How can you be a Renaissance man without sponsoring in the arts? True if big. Shout out to generalizing. There is direct impact from the investment you make each month on your prestige, as well as the impact of the skill of the artists and the art they create. Art, however, is something that you can accumulate a lot of over time, right? And so when we think about cultural influence and building up this heavy weight of having a big culture and not wanting, maybe this is enough that we don't mind it decaying by 5% each month, making it effectively a 20-month equilibrium, because you will be gaining the weight of accumulating more and more art to expand your cultural influence. And I wonder if there will be anything that decreases your cultural influence, like lowering war. Let's continue reading. Let's continue on. There are some countries outside of Europe that already start with advances that unlock investing into culture. Artists. These are characters that appear in countries that are investing into culture. They will spend their time creating art or crying and starving because they can't afford paint, or figuring out what art they should create. They will also increase their skill over time, depending on how much money you throw at them. Throw. If you get frustrated with them not producing new art, you can always commission art directly by throwing even more money at them. A shout out to throwing money at artists. Various buildings and advances can impact the skill floor and ceiling of a new artist as well. We do see Simone Martini. He is, of course, an artist whose money is being thrown at him. We do see some numbers. I'm not sure what they mean, but they are artists. One artist that exists at the start of the game. Shout out to him. If you have less than double the number of supportist artists in your country, you can always poach an artist from a smaller and less rich country. The artist will then move to your country, and all the art they create will benefit you. However, the influence of the culture of the country invested in will increase. Interesting. So you can try and poach the very best artists. There are several different types of artists, and they create different types of arts. I wonder if this is how important this could be. We see philosopher. So this is what I was thinking about when I was thinking of modding, is I've always wanted a grand strategy game that centered around ideas and philosophy, rather than some military thing on the map, and the influence of culture. And I imagine that vanilla EU5, which is actually what we're talking about, not Project Teaser. I've always, I think even if that falls short, there's maybe like a lot of room for modding to really, really have this just be super intense and expanded. But let's continue. Painter. This type of artist creates images by depicting the world or purely from their imagination. It's done by applying pigment or coal or some other sources of color to canvas like a wall. Famous painters include Da Vinci, Rembrandt, and Raphael. I think this is just going to explain to us what each of these people do. We have sculptors, composers. I imagine composer will be something that's unlocked a little bit later. We get Bach, Mozart, and Bellman. Writer, this will be nice. Who do they have? Good old Bill. Shout out to Bill. Architects, I wonder if there will be a little bit more in architects kind of crossing over to some sort of mechanic related to buildings. Would maybe be interesting if they give you a bonus, but I'm guessing we have philosophers as well. I'm guessing that these it won't differentiate one type of work of art from another in terms of the mechanic, and they'll just all kind of give you culture. Jurist, expert in legal matters, proficient in analyzing and commenting on different legal codes. Famous jurists include these guys. Jeremy Bentham. Shout out to utilitarianism. Scientist, person of a scholar. A person of knowledge and scholar of thought, questioning aspects of culture which have been granted in the past. Famous scientists include Isaac Newton, Leonardo da Vinci, the real generalist, the Renaissance man himself. And so this is another area where maybe they actually have some crossover effects in other areas, and hiring particular types of artists is maybe useful. I don't know. We'll have to read a little bit more. Iconographer, only useful for certain religions. Metalsmith, if you have metal jury. Then, all right, let's continue. Works of art. A work of art is something that an artist has created. When the work of art is created, it will directly increase the cultural influence of the primary culture the artist is working in. Not all artists will necessarily live in the capital or create their art there either. This is an interesting statement because are all these characters going to have locations, like, on the map? That's fascinating. We see an example of a work of art. It was created in 1200, and it is Llewellyn's coronet. And that is before the start of the game. And so I'm guessing that is one of the things that is giving ticking culture here is Llewellyn's coronet. This is, of course, art already present at the start of the game. Yes, because it's 1200. When a location is conquered through a siege or a normal occupation, there's a chance for works of art to be looted or destroyed. If it is looted, it will be transferred to your capital so that you create a nice museum a few centuries later. Shout out to Great Britain. Having some art in your country has some benefits, including prestige and traditions. Okay, so we are seeing that if the traditions affect things kind of in line with whatever type of art it is, that'll be interesting. We see a work of art in Venice. There's 4 works of art. St. Mark's Basilica, Horses of St. Mark, I don't know how to pronounce that, and the 2 icons of Archangel Michael, and they are giving monthly progress to innovative cultural tradition and monthly prestige. And so maybe this is going to be the way in which these things will give different bonuses or slightly different bonuses depending on the type of artist. Producing a different type of art will give different types of bonuses. So maybe philosophers are going to give a little bit of research speed or something like this. Scientists maybe make more sense than philosophers for research speed, but the writers and maybe the sculptors will apply more pressure in terms of actually giving you culture and less secondary positive effects, something like this. A true melting pot. Shout out to melting pots. We see there's another example. All right, wait here. There's also direct benefit to all the locations that have works of art as well. Depending on how much art you have, it provides some good benefits. And so we are getting cultural tradition, which we already know about, pop promotion speed, conversion speed, assimilation speed, and institution growth. Institution growth is an interesting modifier. So you will be able to utilize culture over a long period of time to maybe try and make your place as advanced a society as possible. But also, the fact that you can loot these is a little bit interesting as well, because if you go out of your way to loot other people's cultures. Maybe you don't even need to have any culture of yourself. Man. So it goes. This is a concept, prestige. This is a concept that has existed in many of our previous grand strategy games and is present in Project Caesar as well. Look at him going out of his way to not say previous iterations of the game like EU3 and EU4. Here's the value between, here its value is between 0 and 100, and will decay to 0 if nothing increases it, where the decay is bigger, the higher the prestige is. I assume this is the higher, the decay is higher, the more the prestige is above the equilibrium level. I suppose just the higher it is also works. Prestige in the game is heavily tied to the cultural parts of the game, but also has impact on diplomacy and trade, and so we will be seeing some of the things that we will get as a result of culture being in prestige, giving us at 20, it will give us more cultural, oh wait, no, this gives us cultural influence. Okay. Other direction. It gives us 0.2 cultural influence, skill of new artists 2%, monthly aggressive expansion minus 0.05, so you can do more military stuff, diplomatic reputation +1, you can get more agreements, market attraction +1%, great power score, exempt from forfeit, okay, +5. Monthly change, and this is what equilibrium it'll be trending towards, will be the result of dominions, fiefdoms, works of art, and then the prestige decay. And so as long as you have more positive change modifiers than the prestige decay, you will trend up, and eventually you will hit an equilibrium where your positive modifiers are equal to the prestige decay, and the prestige decay getting bigger and bigger as you get higher and higher. So eventually you will have an equilibrium towards which you will trend, and you will trend faster towards that equilibrium the farther you are from it in either direction, which is, if I recall correctly, how EU4 worked out. But stay tuned, as next week, which was, of course, last Saturday, we will go into detail, which we already did, on the societal values we have, which is none. Actually, we just value the line going up, huh? The truth hurts. Okay. But this was kind of a quick review of culture. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm very excited about this mechanic. I'm excited to see more about it. This was kind of basics, but it really gets kind of the brain flowing in terms of what exactly you can do with this, especially within modding, where you can, if the system is strong enough, and has enough sort of things going on that you can get different types of works of art from different types of artists, then you can do so much with this with modding. For example, you could create maybe like an RPG, like simulator thing where instead of artists you have adventurers, and the adventurers do different things to benefit your kingdom. I guess kingdom, you could even make it like, it would be crazy if you play as a party instead of a kingdom or something like this. That would be, we're going too deep in the tank with that. But you could have, you have all these different classes effectively, that you could create a class system or like project a class system from an RPG onto this underlying system where, like, instead of a sculptor, it's a bard, and they produce kind of bard works of arts, or instead of, a composer, which would make more sense as a bard, it's a warrior, and the warrior can slay certain monsters or something like this, and remove negative effects, or maybe they, reduce particular kinds of penalties that every country faces with, like, monsters around their territory. Or you could have like a noble, which will have a different sorts of effect when they produce a great work of art. These types of things. There's just so much you can do with like this type of system, which I think is really exciting. I've been thinking more about modding recently when it comes to like game development and systems quite a bit, and I think that this one will be highly moddable. But also, this is playing for culture is definitely something that interests me. Going to war just to like seize works of art, more so than expand, seems like a really fun type of playthrough. So I'm super excited about this. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Do the YouTube algorithm thing. I almost forgot what the other thing I was supposed to say is. It's so muscle memory at this point. And other than that, have a happy Wednesday on a Monday.